So this is a little project from a couple of years ago now, probably. Maybe not that long, not sure. Anyway, yes, it was a Dreamcast that was given to me by my brother a while ago. I eventually got round to doing something with it, and I did put a video out on it where I essentially removed the optical drive and I fitted one of those GD EMU units to it. So yeah, it's a lot better now. I can just load all my games on an SD card and I don't have to worry about the potentially failing optical unit. Wonderful. Right, problem I've still got with it, and don't get me wrong, it works absolutely fine, but it gets kind of warm in use. And when I say it gets kind of warm, I mean it gets really hot. And when I say it gets really hot, when you've left it on for too long, I'm actually thinking, is this going to start distorting the plastic? I mean, it really does get that hot. So I'm going to do something with the PSU today. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take the old power supply unit out. Let's get into that. So they're pretty simple to get into, these things, if I remember. I'll take the modem off, which is kind of redundant nowadays on these anyway. Go on. There you go. There we go. Right, so when I did this, I found the power supply had a load of leaky caps on it, so I did go through and do a little bit of recapping, and I disabled the 12 volt line as well. So I actually took the regulator off for that, and there was a resistor underneath that I removed as well, in order to try and keep the heat down from this unit, because it really was glowing red hot. It's still glowing red hot, so it's got to go, unfortunately. So I'm just going to start removing it. I looked online for solutions, and they were saying, oh, if you clean up the contact pins at the front, that can, if they're dirty, you can get like a high resistance issue, and that can cause problems. Well, I've done that and it's still running incredibly hot. And I think if I keep running it like that, I'm actually going to do some damage to the unit, and I really don't want to do that. So let's get shut of this altogether. Should just come right out. I think there's only the one screw holding it in, from what I remember. Nope, there's two. There's one hiding. My mistake. Come on. And there it is. Done. Don't need that anymore. So what I've actually got is this thing, and it's a replacement power supply, which I believe is an open source design, so you could just download the files yourself and have it made yourself, but for the cost of it, I bought one. And I think, I've not really looked at this yet, that's it. So, is that bag open? Yeah. So it's a much neater little package. It's a modern power supply. So you've got the little board that goes inside the Dreamcast, and then there's a pass-through with like a 3D printed bracket, and then you've got an external power brick. Well, that's going to keep the heat down considerably, isn't it? That's going to be so much better. Yeah, let's get this installed. Didn't come with any fitting instructions, but I'm sure I can figure it out. So presumably I won't need this isolator anymore. It's just going to be in the way. So it should just slide over these connector pins here, I think. Get it lined up. And that should just push on. I mean, there's no instructions that came with it for fitting, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? There we go. So that's in. Then I've got a screw to put in, so I don't need both the screws anymore to hold the board in. But you know what? What I'll do, I think, is I'll just put the screw back in anyway, and then if I ever decide to put it back to original, then I've got the screw. If I don't do that, it'll go missing, won't it? So that's good enough. This presumably just routes itself to the outside, like that, and then that can plug in there for the switch. That should be it. I mean, I don't think it needs any more than that, really. It's quite neat. Yeah, okay, let's put the case back together and let's make sure it still works. Right, plugged in. I haven't powered it on yet. I've just turned the TV on, so let's see. Well, it's running. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Okay, yeah, that reminds me I do need to change the battery in this thing. I'll get round to it. But anyway, so yeah, that's working, and that has removed all the high voltage from inside the case as well. So that's great. So we've, well, we've replaced that with something a third the size, probably a quarter of the size, really. There's no dangerous high voltage inside the case anymore. It uses the wall wart plug. And yeah, it should run a lot cooler, so I should be able to actually enjoy this console now without worrying about cooking the thing to death. So yeah, what a neat little thing. And now that it's all back together, you can see what it looks like from the rear. It's yeah, it's a neat little installation. That's really very good, I think. Quite pleased with it.